Hello everybody, it's Mark here from the Guitar Marketplace, and today we're starting potentially a new little series, which is where I kind of take off probably a couple of my favourite guitars that we've just had in and kind of showcase them, put a little bit under the spotlight, kind of give you a little bit of detail about them, and mainly, most importantly, show you the tones that they can get. So we'll start left to right because this for me is the most special one that we've got in, which is Brian May Red Special, which we've had a fair amount of in. I think they're okay guitars. They're a bit funny to get used to. I think they're a little tricky to kind of get to grips with. But first, however, as you can notice on the top here, which if I bring it a little closer to you, you can see that it's signed by the very man himself. So, signed by Brian May. I'm not going to play this guitar today because, first of all, I don't want to kind of potentially rub the signature off. But I just thought it was a great piece to have in. It's great to see it up close, great to see the signature up close. And yeah, what a great little prize this makes out to be, or what a great guitar to own. You know, you probably just hang it up and never play it, to be honest, if you do own this guitar in the end. But, you know, some guitars, I'm fine with that being the case, and this is definitely one of them. It's great to have it in. Like I said, I'm not going to play it, but because we've had quite a few in, it's just to showcase the fact that, you know, we've got something signed by one of the greatest guitar players of all time, really. That's my opinion, but it's also probably the opinion of 90% of the population, I suppose. Yeah, so that's great to have in. That's a great little guitar that we've had arrive. The next one, to be honest, is a signature Fender Telecaster that I don't know too much about the artist. So I know the name, Jason Isbell. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it, but I know he's a modern guitar player based in America. I think he does that sort of folk country thing. Meant to be a great player. I've never actually seen him play. However, first things first, picking up this guitar, it feels incredibly comfortable. It's got a similar sort of finish to the Joe Strummer Telecaster that we had in. So it's a Mexican-made signature model. You've got his little decal on the back of the neck plate. You've got some aging. Again, it's a Fender custom shop. Well, it's not the Fender custom shop, but I don't think they particularly age guitars too well. I don't think they normally feel that natural. However, I must say that the neck feels incredible. It's got a 60s neck on it. Pickups sound great. It does that Telecaster thing immensely well, to be fair. But I think it's one of them guitars that you probably don't purchase it if you don't know the artist. However, if you used to go into a store, play probably 4 or 5 Telecasters lined up, I think this one would catch your ear. It does sound great. And again, it's one of the things where with the signature guitar, sometimes with the Joe Strummer one, it was so unique to him as a player that I don't feel like you could really make your own name playing that sort of guitar. It's very iconic to Joe Strummer, where, you know, a Jason Isbell Telly, they are highly sought after, but it's mainly because that the spec that he's given Fender and the guitar that they have made for him and for mass production is a very great sounding Telecaster. So I'm a big fan of that. I've enjoyed playing it, I've enjoyed having it around, and I'll be showing you a few tones on that in just a moment's time. Now, this one was very exciting for me. First proper Rickenbacker I've ever had the privilege of playing / being around. The gloss on the neck, on the fretboard, took me by surprise, to be honest. Very heavily glossed, I suppose like the sort of 60s Strats. But it feels great, feels incredibly smooth. It looks the part, doesn't it? You know, like as soon as I see a Rickenbacker, for me, I think Tom Petty, obviously synonymous with the Beatles as well. The neck's a bit strange. You've got a one-piece back, one piece. I think it's all one piece, to be fair, the body. But the neck, I think it's a 3-piece, and then the headstock kind of goes to potentially 5 pieces, which obviously doesn't normally kind of shout out a great guitar, but I've plugged in to do a little video earlier. I was very impressed with it. I might learn some Tom Petty to kind of show you on the little demo for it. Sounds great. It's got that sort of 3-3-5 sound, obviously because of the size of it. But it's just a great guitar, to be honest. The pickups sound really good in it. Not 100% sure what they are. I might get Ben to overdub that in the editing process, because that was something I forgot to look at. However, it's a really nice guitar, and again, as soon as Ben told me we was getting it in, I think the thing that both of us wanted to do was to plug it in and play some Tom Petty. So yeah, I might give that a go in just a short moment's time as well. But very exciting guitar to have in. I think it's the first Rickenbacker the company itself's ever had in as well. Hopefully it sells well, hope the competition does all right, so we can be swayed to get another couple in the future. Hopefully that's the case. But yeah, we'll get some tones of that in just a moment's time. But obviously, as you can see, we've got one more guitar here. And to be quite honest, I don't know too much about it, other than the fact it's a Gibson Les Paul Studio. I think it's 2019 model. But as you can see, it's a little unique, and I believe it's quite rare and collectible. I don't think there's too many of them about. I just did a little search, and kind of all the places that had listed them are sold out. So what we have here is a Gibson Les Paul Studio, which we all kind of know what that model does, kind of where it kind of cuts its corners, and where it kind of falls somewhere between an Epiphone and the Gibson Les Paul Standard on a price point. But I must say, I think the finish is absolutely beautiful. So this is a barbecue burst, which is, to be honest, in my head, when I heard barbecue burst, I was thinking more like a tobacco sort of kind of thing. However, to have that sort of like deep red, early purple, if that's even a type of colour. And I'm coining that, an early purple, deep red early purple. I think it's one of them things where, for me, it looks great, it looks striking. I don't think it's as classic as some other finishes. However, I think it has its place. I think it's very nice. We've got some Grover tuners on it as well. And one thing I do really like about this guitar is the fact we have binding on the neck as well. Now, I know people don't really mind either way. Some people don't care about binding on the neck. I genuinely think it changes how a guitar feels. It's probably placebo. I'm 99.9% sure it is placebo. However, for studios that I've played, I don't know, I just feel like I've run out of space. I know that sounds really daft, because I know it doesn't technically add anything. But I like my Les Paul to have binding. I think it looks more premium. I'd love to have seen how it would have looked if they'd have binded the body as well. Now, I know you're going into a higher price point at that point, but I think if you'd have had white all alongside, I think the finish would have really popped and taken this guitar to another level. I haven't plugged it in and played it yet, so I'm very excited to do so as well with that guitar. So what we are going to do now is, like I said a bit earlier, I'm not going to be giving you sound samples of the Brian May Red Special, because there's loads of YouTube videos of that. And again, I don't want to risk rubbing the signature off. So we're going to leave that one alone. However, I'm going to go through some of the sounds. I'm going to use probably one guitar tone. So I'm going to go through a Dumble preset on the Kemper. Just enough gain that I can kind of get some lead notes out of it, touch of reverb. And I'm going to kind of keep that setting the same. And then I'm going to play with the different dials of the guitar so you can hear the kind of tones that we're getting. From what I do know about these guitars already, this has very low output pickups. So the amp settings are going to be the same, but this one will be a lot less distorted than definitely the Les Paul Studio, and even more so than this Tele as well, because the pickups in this do kind of enjoy the breakup, and that net pickup sounds incredible as well, by the way. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to change the camera angle around, and I'm going to set these guitars up, and we're going to roll through some of the tones. See you in a second. So there we have it, folks. That is our new arrivals of the week and a half. I'm not entirely sure when this video will go up, whether we'll still have some of these instruments, but it's been a real pleasure to show you them today. So what did I think of them? Well, the Jason Ibel Telly, I got lost playing it, to be honest. We've got a slight issue with our amp currently where you probably heard quite a lot of feedback on the single coil guitars, like the Ricky and the Telly. But kind of putting that aside, that was nothing to do with the instruments themselves. I generally thought the tones that come out of all these guitars were exceptional, to be honest. I got lost playing them. I thought they were very nice to play. The Telly kind of did the Telly thing. Is it my favourite one that we've had in? Probably not. It's up there. It's probably in my top 3 with the ones I've played since being part of this company. It probably goes the George Harrison signature Telecaster, then just a regular Fender Baja Telecaster in the Butterscotch Blonde. I love that guitar. And then it probably goes that one in a very close third, to be honest. Thoroughly enjoyed playing it. It feels really comfortable. And I think it sounds great. It kind of has that low end that I personally like in a Telly. Kind of on that neck pickup, play an F chord and just kind of let it just bass out, really. So I love that guitar. We then moved on to the Rickenbacker, which, as the first one I've ever played, I'm very excited by them. I hope I get to play a few more because I really did enjoy playing it. It kind of put me in a separate mindset. I learned a bit of Tom Petty, but without the two guitar things going on, it's very difficult to play, so I had to kind of make a mini arrangement of American Girl. But for me, it sounded great. I kind of loved it. Probably not as easy to play as I was kind of maybe hoping they were, for like lead stuff in particular, but I thought chords sounded great. There's a lovely low end to it as well that I hit a sweet spot at one point. And I really felt like I'd kind of lost myself in the music a little bit, and that's kind of whatever I look for in a guitar, really. If you can kind of give me a tone that I kind of forget that I'm recording, I know we've got a good guitar, and I definitely did that for that instrument. I thought it was beautiful. And then moving on to the Les Paul, slightly strange one actually, because as soon as I set the camera up and I kind of sat down and went to play it, realised it's probably not set up to my liking. The only way I can explain it is that the action's that low currently, it plays a little bit like an Ibanez or like an ESP sort of guitar, where there's almost a deadness to it because of how low the action is, but it kind of makes the notes more expressive. You kind of end up with like little nuances over the top of what you're playing, like little harmonic frequencies. And once I kind of got used to that and realised that that currently is how this guitar is going to sound because of the way it's set up, really enjoyed it actually. It was a bit different. It didn't kind of play like a Les Paul to me. Felt like, again, I was playing like an ESP sort of Les Paul version. But I thought it sounded great, to be honest. I thought it sounded really good. Again, we didn't change the guitar tones at any point from the amp, so the fact of how much more distorted this was compared to the other two, I know it's kind of a given, but it obviously pushed the amp a hell of a lot more. But I thought all three guitars did something very different, and I really enjoyed doing it this video today, actually. We will probably look at doing more of these rather than like the more traditional unboxing sort of style guitars, as like our long form video, but personally I think it's a little better. It gives me a chance to kind of understand the guitars a little more, still show you some demos, but also when you click on the video you know exactly what you're going to be listening to today. So do let us know in the comments if you enjoyed this style of video, if you enjoyed this format, whether you want it to be a little short, a little more concise. But again, that's on my fault. It was going to be a 10-20 minute video, and I got carried away playing these guitars again, which for me is always a sign that I've enjoyed playing these instruments. Neither of the three I've played today let me down in any way, shape or form. So I did love making this video. My name is Mark. We are the Guitar Marketplace. Expect more content like this. Again, let us know in the comments your feedback, what you want us to do differently, the things you want us to keep. All that feedback helps make our content a little better for you guys to consume. So thank you for watching. Please do hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell as well so you get the notifications when we do go live for our draws and all the videos that we do post as well. Take care, and we shall see you shortly for another video soon.